Hello book besties! Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Kiara and I'm so excited to have you here. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I plan a monthly TBR as a mood reader who works full-time, has the attention span of a flea, and also has the vicious need to protect my reading so that I don't go into a reading slump, which is super easy for me to do. I plan my monthly TBRs this way so that I can avoid exactly that. Now, before we get into it, let me just explain why your strict TBR as a mood reader is failing. If you are a mood reader, or if you have any of the personality traits that I just mentioned in my previous clip, then you're going to want to listen to this. Now, I am no expert, so maybe take what I say with a grain of salt, but I am someone who has kind of locked down a great method for TBR planning. Now, like I mentioned before, the reason why your super strict TBR is failing is because you are coming up with a specific list of titles. Those could be like 10 plus. I'm on Book Talk, so I see you guys. So these lists are super long, they're very specific titles, and you don't really give yourself a lot of wiggle room in this TBR. So as a mood reader, you need to have the flexibility to pick and choose your titles. You need to be flexible with picking your titles and picking your TBR, because when you set these really strict TBRs every month, you're taking out the emotional experience, and that emotional experience is the reason why you fell in love with reading in the first place and why you are a reader, is because the books that you read make you feel something. So that is why you continue to pick them up and read them. Now, let's get into my tips and tricks. We are going to fix this today. So when I first started getting into TBRs and planning and trying to plan around being a mood reader, I at first honestly completely trashed the idea of TBR. I was not creating any TBRs and I was just reading what I wanted to read. This experience was really freeing, and I do kind of recommend, if you're somebody who's always had a really strict TBR and you're never able to keep up with it, try like trashing the entire thing. Don't create a TBR for a couple months, couple weeks, however long you want to do it, and then come back to this. You might honestly need a break from the TBR planning, so that would really be my first tip, is just try maybe not doing it and then come back to it and see how you feel. All right, so you have tried scratching the idea of a TBR, you've read your books that you wanted to read, I'm sure you have a ton more. Now you really want to get back to TBRs. This is still okay for you as a mood reader. Planning a TBR is not only really fun, but it helps you get excited for your monthly reads. It also helps you prioritize which reads you want to go through. And as a content creator, planning a monthly TBR is a great video idea, and honestly overall it's just really fun, like I said. So you're probably at the stage where you want a monthly TBR. Let's get into how to plan it. So first things first, you need to figure out your schedule. If you are somebody like me who works full-time, you're working 40 hours a week, you know that there are certain hours in the day that you cannot do any reading. So what you need to do is figure out how many hours you're realistically putting into reading every month. I do have a trick for this. Look at your previous month or 2 months previous and see how many books you were reading in a day, in a week, maybe even that entire month. This can be a really good tip to try and kind of gather your own data of how much you're realistically reading and how much time per day, per week, per month that you are putting into reading. That will be your first step. Now, if you're anything like me, then you're also thinking, how can I fit in more reading time? This honestly could be a separate video entirely, but I think the top thing here is maybe audiobooks could be a really good tool for you to fit in more reading time. If this is you, that is amazing. Now, for me, I personally can't justify spending a lot of money on audiobooks. There are free resources at your local library and stuff, so check those out, of course, but audiobooks aren't always the most affordable option, so do this if you can, but if you can't, just be very realistic with yourself. This, again, is just to help you figure out how much you can realistically read in a month or in a week. Okay, so for example, for me, I am not the fastest reader. I'm a pretty slow reader. I can usually finish like 1 book a week, depending on the size, of course. So for me, This realistically means that I can read about 4 to 5 books a month, maybe even 6, depending on what audios I'm doing, how busy I am that week, and honestly what I'm doing on the weekend. So again, just to really drive this point home, I got this number from looking at my previous month worth of reading and trying to figure out and estimate how much time I can realistically put into reading a month. So from that data, from those numbers, I pulled that I'm probably reading about 5 to 6 books a month. And so this is going to help me now set a standard for how many books I'm actually going to put on my TBR every single month. Now, you're probably wondering why so little. For some little, okay? For some people, that's actually a lot of books, so bear with me. So the reason why you want to stick to this realistic number of books per month is because a monthly TBR should just be your standard for the month. If you exceed this number of books, that is great. That's honestly the goal. And it's important to remember too that this number is not set in stone. You can also adjust this as time goes on. That's what I'm hoping for myself, is that someday I'm going to be able to fit even more books on the TBR, but I'm only going to do this when I'm absolutely comfortable, and I'm only going to do this when I'm consistently reading more than 5 to 6 books a month. So for now, you're going to stick with your 5, maybe 6, if it's a longer month. If you have some audiobooks in mind, maybe go up to 6, but really you're going to want to be as realistic as possible with this. Okay. So you have your amount of books that you're going to put on your TBR. Now we're going to pick what kind of books we're going to read for the month. Now, there are a couple of categories that this can fall into. For a regular month with nothing special going on, I would go through your top genres. So for me, those are going to be thrillers, they're going to be mysteries, romantasy, historical fiction, and sci-fi. These genres are my best genres. They're also where I read the most. So you're going to apply that information to obviously whatever suits your fancy, whichever genres are your preferred genres. So with the genre pooling, what you're going to want to do is pick 2 books or 3. You're going to pick 2 books in each genre to pick and choose, okay? Bear with me. This is going to be a lot of books. I know we're not going to put them all in the TBR, but you need some options as a mood reader to keep you out of a slump. Trust me, trust. So you're going to set those aside. Now, if you are a content creator, if you have other buddy reads that you're doing, if you're part of a book club, if it's a holiday, if you want to do a themed TBR, which those are super fun, feel free to pick the books that you want to read according to this now. So for me, I am in an in-person book club. So for this month, I already know which book we're reading for the book club. So that's like automatically going onto the TBR. I also know that there are some popular books that I want to get to for content creation. So I'm going to include those as well. This is usually just 1 book, maybe 2. Again, maybe 2 if we have like a longer month, or if it's something I'm really, really excited to get to. Okay. So now you have your 2 books in each of your genres. You have your priority reads, which is going to be your recent releases, your content creation books, your book club picks, or really anything that is high priority for that month. You have those, and you have your 2 picks for each of your favorite genres. Now, what you're going to want to do is look at all of your genres, look at all the options that you've just picked out. For each genre, you're going to pick out your top choice, the one that you most want to read this month. That is going to make up the TBR. And so what you'll do with that information is the books that were your second choice, what you're going to want to do is save these. These are going to be your backup. Backups are super important to have as a mood reader. It's going to help you stay out of a slump. It's also going to help you to have some options so that you don't feel as though you're locked in on just these 5 to 6 options. Because again, we're limiting the amount of books that we're putting on the TBR to be realistic, and we're not setting ourselves up for failure by overstuffing the TBR. So if you have these backups, this will come in handy. Now let's talk about the dreaded slump real quick. You guys, do not be afraid to DNF books. I do it not frequently, I will say, but I do DNF. I do pause books. And this could simply just be a temporary pause or a temporary DNF. It's not always permanent, but it's important to stop reading a book that you are not enjoying. You will go into a slump, you'll give up on the month, and then why did we even plan the TBR? Okay? So just listen to this, be kind to yourself, allow yourself to DNF or pause books. Alright guys, and with all of that collected, we are ready to pick our May TBR. I'm going to be kind of taking you guys through my process so that you guys can kind of see this in action, apply it to your own TBRs, and hopefully we will just all have a better experience moving forward. And this is a really great opportunity for me to plug in that TBR, so I hope you'll stick around. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, so like I mentioned, you're gonna need your in-person book club book. This month, my in-person book club is reading We Burn So Bright by TJ Klune. This is a dystopian novel about the end of the world, and I think there's a couple in this book that they go on a road trip. It's very short, so honestly, I prefer that for a book club, but we'll see. I have never read a TJ Klune book before, so honestly, I'm pretty excited for this one. Our next book for this month is going to be Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf. I don't know a ton about this book. I know it's also dystopian and that it's very hyped right now on TikTok, so I hope that I love this book, but this is going to be the next one on the TBR. Next up on our list, we have my thriller/horror read. We are reading We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. This is the cover. Let me switch hands real quick. We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. I am very excited for this one. I've had this on my TBR for a really long time, so I'm excited to get into it. Let me read to you guys a little bit of what this is about. I know it's a scary story about like this couple that moves into an old house. I think she has a disability or some kind of illness or something, so that will be interesting to read about, but this will be up next on the TBR. I do want to fit in a romantasy book. It is called Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. Now, this book is very interesting. I haven't heard a ton of people talk about it on BookTok, but to be fair, I probably missed the hype. It just had a really cool cover, and it was on sale at Books A Million, so I picked it up. A lot of romantasy books tend to repeat each other these days, but super excited for Silver Cloak. I think there's like a very unique magic system in here where the main character, she does something with like pleasure and pain. So I will know more when I actually read it, but this is next up. My last book that I'm actually reading this month is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I'll insert a picture of it somewhere on the screen because I don't have it in front of me right now, but that is another thriller that I had a buddy read with a good friend on TikTok that really hits two categories with a popular book, but also part of thrillers. I love thrillers. So that will wrap up the TBR. Now, I did mention some backups. I won't go into the blurbs of those books, but I will mention them quickly here. So my backups for this month include Mocha by Monica Kim. Also have Starside by Alex Astor on the list. I have The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, and I also have The Dissection of a Murder. These are my backups for this month in case any of my TBR books absolutely flop this month, which they could. So that's why we have backups, so that we won't hit a slump, we'll be totally fine this month, and we'll have a great reading month. The other thing you could do with your backups is you can also always save them for next month's TBR. I do this a lot with my backups. If I really wanted to get to it, but I just didn't have enough time in that month, I will actually save it for the next month. All right, and that wraps up my tips and tricks for planning your monthly TBR as a mood reader. I would love to hear from you guys. Did you find any of this advice helpful? Did you find any of it relatable? I really hope that these tips take the pressure off of planning a monthly TBR. I hope you have fun with your TBR. I hope you have fun with reading. I hope you enjoy what you're reading, and I hope you have a wonderful reading month. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. Also, give this video a like, comment down below any tips and tricks that you might have for other people, or any tips and tricks that you might have for me. Let me know what you're reading this month, or what you plan to read maybe next month, and let me know if any of my books are on your TBR, or if you've read any of the ones that I plan to read this month. Alright, thank you so much, besties. I will see you in the next one. Bye!